Well, we're in a new era. Travel, which used to be something ubiquitous, which everybody could do, whether rich or not so rich or poor, with cheap holidays around Europe and the rest of the world. All this has changed. Aviation is one of the sectors which has been profoundly affected by the coronavirus pandemic. So I think that distances will shrink, people will use technology, and travel, at least for the next year or so, is going to be profoundly affected. Some people think 2 to 3 years, that's the airline's view, because people will be worried about their own physical security and health, and you may have first or second or third waves. China was an initial big loser in the coronavirus pandemic. That's where the problem started. They did not suppress the virus, they covered up the story, and they shut down then their economy. The lockdown was quite really draconian. Now, since then, while they haven't eradicated the virus, they've certainly contained it. And the Chinese economy is coming back. So I would say short-term winner, but there are still some major questions about how fast the Chinese economy will continue to grow. Its dependency, admittedly, somewhat reduced on export markets, which are flat on their back. And then I think there's a longer term question, which is whether China will truly emerge as the rival to the United States, or whether America will come back just simply because stronger institutions, stronger track record on innovation and adaptability versus a monolithic Chinese communist system. In the short term, authoritarian regimes or quasi-authoritarian regimes, I'm thinking of Russia, for example, to way down on the spectrum, South Korea, which is a democracy but still strong government. Think about Brazil. These appeared to be doing very well. But I think since the first months, there's been a significant outbreak of coronavirus, and these economies, Brazil, Russia, for example, are seriously suffering. Now, so I don't think they're winners at all. I think they had inherent weaknesses and they're going to be exposed. On the other hand, for liberal democracies, this is a huge moment. Does the government system work? Is the public health system resilient? Will the institutions prove strong enough in the short to medium term? I think the answers are qualified yes. There are serious strains in the Eurozone, and there is a big, big problem in America where a divided America as never before, an election which is going to be brutally contested. What he likes to call a big crisis in the European Union. I've been watching it for 30 years since I first went to Brussels. And, you know, we thought that the exchange rate mechanism, that was the end of the euro, no more single currency. It actually happened. Then you've got these massive tensions between the governance in the Eurozone, between France, Germany, Italy. You had Brexit, which many people thought would signal the end of the European Union. I think way too soon to tell, but there are very serious strains in the Eurozone between the kind of fiscal responsible countries, notably Germany, and then these highly indebted countries, particularly the soft underbelly of Italy. Never mind the cleavage between East and West. So not good, but it's way too soon to call the end. In terms of sectors, you have to believe that the large technology companies that are cash rich, capital heavy, got a preponderance of power. I'm thinking of Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft. They've got a strong inherent position, but they've also got the money to buy up a lot of these more fragile companies. So I think that concentration of power plus the spirit of innovation means they are going to be winners, and they're the ones to watch. There will be also other companies that frankly take opportunity, see opportunity in the middle of the crisis, companies we haven't heard of. But if office, for example, another sector that's highly challenged, the office space sector, real estate. Maybe there are companies like Zoom that we've never really heard of very much, but suddenly there's this massive demand. In terms of regions, I would still put a lot of money on America, because I think there's still that inherent strength. Switzerland, look how well they perform. They've got a public sector that actually works. Small, innovative, dynamic industries. So that's another country. And I think some of the quasi or semi-authoritarian countries in Asia that were fast growing, admittedly somewhat dependent on China, but South Korea, Singapore, Vietnam, for example, still worth, don't write off emerging markets.